I'm not going to take a lot of time up here. I'll just quickly shift to Alex. But a quick introduction. We've got some nice people from Unity here. Alex, Andy, we've got Alan from 500 Quarter. And where is Pierre? No, Pierre from Codemasters. Unfortunately, I'll be speaking a little bit as well, but he can't do much about that. So I'll just shut up for now and do lovely stuff.
Yeah. No, thank you, Stephen. Thank you. Well, guys, a pleasure to be out here. Andy was here last year for Pixie and mentioned that there's a good scene, and we wanted to get out here again this year. So Stephen very kindly jumped on board and helped us kind of set up the event today. And of course, a big thank you to Microsoft as well for the space, just to get us all together. We encourage kind of Unity user groups as kind of little pockets, ecosystems, I guess, of developers that are experiencing using Unity to kind of, I guess, share ideas, experiences, give a bit back, and generate, I guess, a positive environment for developers to kind of, I guess, share experience. And we're happy to come down and just show you a bit of new stuff and talk very briefly, I guess, a bit about Unity 5 and I guess where we're heading really as a company and as a tool provider. So there's my email address, do take it down. I've popped a couple of business cards here, and I encourage you all to come and find me at some point in the evening in the gaps afterwards, grab my card. So just as a very brief introduction, I would be the account executive responsible for the developers across Malta. I work alongside a guy called Andy Bramall. I guess he looks after the bigger players, and I look after a lot of the startups, the independent developers. So as a key point of contact really at the company, I predominantly deal with licensing, but anything from advising on support services. If you're releasing a game and you want me to jab our marketing department ribs, get a tweet out for you guys, and that's something else as well. Getting beta access to certain things, which I'll move on to. I'm going to keep this quite short because Andy's got the real meat for you all. So just, a bit of a kind of just an update on, I guess, where we came from, where we are now, really. Unity, we set out to democratise game development. It was 3 humble and very talented individuals in Copenhagen. Originally starting out trying to make a game. The game didn't fly, but what they did realise is they made a very fantastic set of tools to potentially make games. So that's what we set out to do. I guess where we are now, we're moving into the 5th version of our engine. We're in beta right now. I think it's beta 15, 14? Yeah. Oh, lovely. Okay, good stuff. So yeah, that's moving along in the beta there. Before you ask, we don't have a release date. I'm sorry. I'd love to be able to say we're releasing on this day, but we're still not quite there yet. But we're all hard pressed in Copenhagen, and Bill needs the core development teams there working on fire. And moving forward, I think where we're kind of realigning our vision, we set out to definitely democratise game development, and that is still very, very prominently our mission statement and goal. But moving forward, we're going to be focusing more on developer success and ensuring that developers who choose Unity as a platform to make games have more opportunity to be successful with their games. So we're going to be moving into developing a lot of services. You may have caught a couple of the videos at Unite. I've got a couple of beta links just up here, so for 2 of the services initially. So we've got the cloud building service. I won't go into too much detail, but do take a photograph of that. I think Stephen's videoing it as well, so you should hopefully be able to pick it up in video.
I'll put the links online as well if you want to. You can pass me the links and I can put them online.
That would be really good. I think for us, the more the merrier, the developers that want to jump in and try out these new services. So Cloud Build is a cloud building service in a nutshell. Analytics is for kind of like analysing the data from the players of your games, essentially. So jump in, try it out. We've also got the Unity Ads services and the Everplay services as well. So if you want an introduction for Unity Ads or the Everplay toolset, let me know, grab my card, I can introduce you to some of the guys up in Finland there. And then, of course, moving further forward, we're looking into UNet, which I know Stephen's very excited about, but that's a bit further on. So, I guess without further ado, thank you all for coming. Do grab me, because I would essentially be your account manager, but I'll pass on to Andy, who's got the real meat, as I said. He's got the stuff.
I said that. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. Sweet. So, can you hear me at the back? Yeah, I saw some nodding, so I didn't see anyone sleeping, so that's a good start already. So, I was here about 14 months ago at PixieCon, is that right? And then when I heard, oh, December, when it's freezing cold in England, do you want to go to Malta? Of course. Oh, and do Unity stuff as well. So I'm going to be talking for the next 40 minutes about a lot of new bits and pieces we're working on. Some of it you may have seen before, some of you may have not seen before. Some of you are going to be like, aha, or kind of think about it. So it's a lot of different bits and pieces we're working on. Some stuff I've shown to someone, it made a grown man cry over one of the features I'll show you. So I expect lots of tears. Of joy, hopefully. Yeah, so whenever I start the talk, I like to find out a bit more about you guys. So put your hand up if you are a programmer. That's the, wow. Okay, that's one or two people, okay, cool. Put your hand if you're an artist. Okay, that's good. You can put your hand up more than twice, I'm not like a strict teacher. Okay, that's cool. Put your hand up if you're an audio guy or girl. You do audio. You have a huge beard. Yeah, there's always one. And normally you have they have big beards, bald heads, and they're wearing a Metallica t-shirt.
Music hardware t-shirt.
Well, that's old music hardware t-shirts more hardcore than Metallica t-shirt. Okay, cool. Right, yeah, so normally they always have big beards. That's cool. Put your hand up if you work in QA. Technically, everyone here should be putting their hands up. So, put your hand up if you use Unity. Okay, this is going to make my job much easier. Put your hand up if you have no idea what Unity is, games, programming, you just kind of saw a big room of people and thought this might be quite cool. I hope you know. Do you want to introduce yourself? Or? No.
Hi. Yeah, real quick, because Alex forgot me. I'm Brett. I'm actually running all of Unity's research and development, and coincidentally, I happen to live in Malta. I've been hiding in Malta, and I fly to Denmark every Monday and back on Fridays. So just coming to meet you all. I'll leave some cards behind as well. Maybe we can get together and do some stuff occasionally while I'm here. And also, when we're all done, if there's any time, I can do Q&A on anything in Unity, and let's go. Thank you. Sit down.
That anything works very dangerous.
I'm famous for telling too much.
Oh boy, okay. Okay, cool, so I'm going to head along. So the way it's structured is 40 minutes showing you lots of its pieces, then a bit of a break for you all to take it all in and be like, whoa, okay, or to like, wake up from being a wow going or something. And then come back, 40 more minutes, bits and pieces, and then other talks from other people. Alan, Duca?
Yep, Duca.
Yep, cool. We'll be giving a talk as well as chat from Codemasters. I'm terrible with names. Pierre. Okay, cool. And someone else, maybe? Stefan as well, of course. Yep. Sweet. So, I'm going to have a look. So, my name's Andy. This is me cosplaying as Mario. I actually showed off this picture, and someone said I still program on that keyboard. So you can kind of guess my age by that. And I'm a Unity evangelist. So my family instantly think I've joined a cult, and I'm like Tom Cruise. Which is fine, that's cool. So I work with Unity in Europe, Middle East and Africa, and basically I get all the new juicy bits and pieces that they're cooking up in a big cauldron in Copenhagen, and then kind of show it off to user groups, to people, students, anyone. Some guy at the gym, I actually went and got my laptop from the locker to show Mechanim at the gym on the running machine, so like have it set up there. Yeah, so any opportunity I can to show off what's in Unity, talk about where we're going, all the new cool stuff. If you have any games or projects or simulations or anything with Unity, I've seen some really weird stuff, please send it to me because I like to see it and play it and buy it and stuff. So don't release an app for about $1,000 on the App Store because now I've got to buy it. Yeah. Cool. Oh, there you then get $1,000. Right, so I'm going to be talking about a billion things. I have a tendency to overshoot my talk, so I'll try and wrap it up pretty swift. So the first set is going to be a lot of visual bits and pieces, including a tool called Debugger, which had a man had a tear just roll down his face, a tear of joy. Then it's going to be a bit about the UI system, 2D physics, a bit about the audio, WebGL, and kind of a bit of examples of what people are doing with all this tech. So I'm going to show you all the bits and pieces in the editor. I don't like PowerPoint at all, so I'm going to do as much as I can in the editor. And then show you some stuff that people are actually doing with it. Does that sound okay? Yeah. Okay, and then there's the Ask Me Anything bit at the end. Yeah. Okay, cool. Right, sweet. So, let's give it a shake. shading. So what we like to do at Unity is we like to hear what people are doing with Unity, what they like about it. That's really cool to hear that we're on the right track. Also what they don't like, or sort of common problems or common things that we could improve like out of the box. And there's kind of like several things that are sort of very similar, and that's kind of the visual representation of games, and kind of get a new UI system. I was going to do a talk on the UI system called For UIs Only, 007 Years in the Making, but I don't know if you guys remember that joke. Yeah, so I chose not to do that title. Yeah. It hasn't taken 7 years. So the first set is going to be about lots of bits and pieces. So a lot about the shading, a lot about lighting, about reflections, about enlighten and things like that, kind of representing assets in Unity. I'm going to use beta builds in Unity. So if anything funky happens, feel free to take a photo and send it to our social media people, and then wake them up. So yeah.
Never blame me.
Of course, yeah. Anything. Yeah, they like that bit. My favorite bug is where all the text in the editor completely disappears, but you can still make your game. I really like that feature because I like to think it's a hardcore mode. So let's say, for example, if I selected this, all of that, you could still tick stuff, but just no text. You have no idea what you're ticking. So yeah, you can. You know, I think you can see all the textures. You select that, and that's all completely gone. So I don't think the devs liked it when I suggested we should have this as hardcore mode. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, the day before it ships, I'll go into Trunk and change it, and then yeah. Cool. So the first is physical-based shading. So one thing we want to do is out the box supply kind of a set of shaders and a set of tools that artists can then bring their content in and basically make it look really nice and represent it. And the switch side of this is kind of customizing as well. So you've got that, you want to make things look very nice, very beautiful out the box, and texture it in a very nice way, in a nice simple interface, but you also want it to be customizable as well, because Unity has been used for just about lots of very wild things. So I saw a VR archery system with an Oculus Rift plugged into a laptop in your rucksack, in a room which was tracking your position, and you had a bow and arrow detecting when you pull back and released, as a game, like all powered by Unity. And there's all sorts of different things. So, for example, in this scene, which is a Viking village that our demo team was working on in Stockholm, everything here is using the same sort of standard shader. So, for example, the mud here, like the water puddles, the wood there, the metal here, like the hay. I think the SkyParks doesn't use it, but someone in our community will probably alter it to be SkyParks compatible somehow. So our community like doing naughty things. Cool. So what we have here is we have a doll. Put your hand up if you've seen this doll before. Yeah, okay. My girlfriend likes to joke I see this doll more than I see her, so you can judge our relationship by that. So we've got this doll, and this doll's built up of lots of different segments, but each area of the doll, so let's say the cloth along the back here, like this metal cloth here, and sort of like the glowing bit in the middle. Her waistcoat, her like creepy face and stuff. Basically, all the parts of this doll is using the same shader, but just tweaked in very different ways to basically represent it as cloth or rock. My favourite bit is actually not even the doll, the actual base over here. So if you see it, you can see like a nice sort of like reflection across the bottom of the base. And that's the same shader you use for the rock as well. So it's kind of like an out-of-the-box nice shader. So rather than playing with the doll, which my girlfriend doesn't like me doing, I'm going to use this cat instead. So yeah, we have a nice cat. Cool. So yeah, people say that the cat's a balloon on the doll. People say we should actually get this proper balloon. So after we give a talk showing off the cat, everyone leaves the building with balloon cats. And then just an old lady's like, why are there 70 balloon cats? Like, one of those weird things. So we've got this cat. So to select the cat, what we have here is we have the shader. So this has gone through various name changes. Currently it's the standard shader. It was the Uber shader, universal shader, now the standard shader. And there's whole threads about what it should be called. Yeah, currently it's standard. And the way the standard shader is built up is to make the UI as sort of simple and straightforward as possible. Can you guys look back to see that? Because I know it's kind of tinted a bit red. We haven't gone crazy and made the whole Unity editor. So
It's fine.
Okay, that's fine. So we've got all sorts of different slots for different things that you want to have in your shader or have onto your object. So currently my cat just has a texture map to basically say, this is where its eyes are, this is where its teeth are, this is where like the ends of its paws have this particular color. It's very straightforward. Now the next thing that we have is a smoothness slider. Now we have two variations of this shader. So we've both got like a smoothness glossiness version of it, and we also have a metallic roughness version of it, depending on how you author your content. So in this build of Unity, I have just the standard, the smoothness glossiness. And this is kind of to define how smooth an object is, from not smooth at all to completely smooth as possible. So if you notice on this cat, if I have a look at the cat, let's have a look on here, and I change the slider, as I get all the way smoothed up, it's got like a nice, really sort of like reflective polish and reflective shine on it. I can then sort of tint that. So let's say I want it to be, I don't know, with green. I can even set it to white. So this is a good example of like you can see it actually going through the different steps. So no smoothness. So let's say you want, I don't know, carpet. Carpet's not that smooth, right? It depends on the carpet. Yeah. So if I then go through these different steps, you'll notice it's getting more and more smooth. So that's for more like, I don't know, like a car maybe, clearly not washed. And then go through, I guess that would be good for a vase. And then as we get through to the end, so the last bit, ta-da, we've now got a sort of like reflectiveness. So this is currently using the skybox to reflect the cat. I'll show you how you can sort of interject reflections into the scene in a bit. So we've got this slider. Very simple, right? You couldn't get more simple than a slider. However, what you may want to do is basically highlight particular areas to be smooth. So let's say, if I go back to this image, we've got here like this shield. So you want the middle bit to be reflective and shiny of all the things around it, but you don't want kind of the wood to be shiny because it's not really bright. Now you don't want to make a separate material for every single section of the shield because that's terrible. That's a really bad idea, especially if you want to go onto mobile devices. So what we can do is instead, we can actually pass in like a texture map, which basically highlights particular areas of this. So what we've got here is a texture map. You can pass that into the specular slot, and it kind of overrides the smoothness slider. Basically says these particular areas are smooth, and these particular areas are not, based on the alpha. So if I hover over, yeah, so it still uses the RGB to color different areas, and then it uses the alpha for smoothness. So if I go pop, pop that in here, we've then got a nice cat, kind of like more reflective. So you'll notice that the eye isn't as reflective, whereas the body more is. So yeah, you can basically specify certain areas. Groovy. So we have a normal map as well. If I pass that in, so that's nothing new. But what we can do with the normal map is we can change how much it affects the, I guess the mesh or the model and how it's represented. So currently it's at 0 sort of power. If I set it to 1, you can see that this normal map is basically indenting it a bit more like a balloon. And then you can keep scaling it, so you can actually keep going. Now the cat looks like he's either eaten a lemon or he's extremely hungover. I used to live in London. I saw so many people who look like this on a Sunday morning. Yeah, clutching coffee. So you can go the other way. So I imagine someone eventually is going to make a game where you eat lemons or something like that, like Lemon Run or Temple Run. And then as you eat lemons, it goes, yeah, that was horrible. Cool. So yeah, let's say we won, because I feel really sorry for her. I did that once to some girl, like, was really upset. She was 10 though, so yeah. Cool. So what else do we have? So we have occlusion. So say like we don't want to rely on the lighting to darken certain areas. We want to pass in a texture such as this one to darken like where the ear is, or the mouth, or kind of, I guess those are the teeth or something like that. We can then pass that in as well. So we're kind of building this up by plugging in all the different textures. So we've now got sort of darken the area pieces here, and that's not relying on the light, that's relying based on the texture. You can also choose that slider. We have support for other things, so you can pass in a height map if you need to. Emission as well, so you could have like coals glowing in certain areas, or like maybe I could have the cat's eyes glowing blue or red or something evil. I don't know. Or his eyes are bloodshot. And yeah, you can basically pass in all these different bits and pieces. So you've got this nice, beautiful cat. Groovy. Everyone is still with me? Yep. Sweet. You guys are very quiet. Oh, I haven't made a potato joke yet. I've been told about potato. I love potatoes. Is that right? Yeah? Potatoes are in my blood? Yes. Hopefully that guy's here. Is he here? He's too busy making potatoes. Yeah. So I got that joke, yeah. Sure. I don't know any Maltese, but I know potato guys. Yeah. That's okay. You can do all sorts of other stuff with this shader. So currently this shader is in opaque mode. You could use this for cutouts. So if you had, say, foliage, or you had, I think in this Viking village we've also got like kind of like a cloth cutout here. You could, for example, use something with a cutout. We also have support for transparency as well, so you can basically sculpt this in different ways. So let's go down. So actually, one of my favorite bits to play around with is the secondary map slot. So we can not only pass in different textures and materials and sort of like details into the main maps, we can also pass in things into the secondary maps and kind of like highlight different bits and pieces. So let's say I wanted this shirt to have this particular ridiculous pattern, but then I wanted to have like a chainmail texture or individual thread texture. Rather than passing in that thread texture into kind of like the detail, I can basically overlap it with a different one. So let me get rid of some bits and pieces. So I've got my cat. My cat is looking very, very attractive. And let's go down to my list of materials. So I've got all sorts of materials here. Pick one. Not 3D pattern 59, that's experimental. I know someone's going to pick that, so I'm going to delete it. Cracked. Okay, right, someone said rock. Okay, cool. So we have here a nice rock texture, looking very beautiful, and we have a normal map as well. So I can say to my cat, let's turn down that seclusion as well. Pass in rock. So we've got this sort of like rock pattern around the cat. Is rock shiny or smooth? Let's try it anyway. Okay. So we've now got kind of like, I guess, polished, shiny rock. That doesn't make sense, does it? I can then also pass in a normal map. So let's say, and then tone up. Wow, okay. That's probably a bit too extreme. Let's put that down. And drop that down to like 2. So you now got kind of like rocky cat. I can then take the cat and make him brown, and he's like chocolate, like cookie dough cat or something. That's demonic. That's demonic. Demonic lava cat. I could then pass in a mission map and then have like his eyes have holes. Oh, this sounds good.
Andy, that's a really crappy looking cat.
Yeah. Okay. Let's. Let's not use that color. Is that looking better? Yeah. Okay, so let's do something different. Let's do Play-Doh. So I've got both here a Play-Doh texture. This isn't my fingerprints, in case anyone's going to take a photo and steal my identity. And we've got a normal map as well. So you don't have to pass in that texture, you can just pass in a normal map or to basically make it feel. So let's go here, pass in that. Let's increase the tiling. Let's let it be 1. And then I can basically look around here. Ah, that's really bright. But I can view it here, and you can actually see as I sort of tone up the normal map, like that tool, and then sort of pull it up and stuff. That's very cool. Let's put that down. Yeah, so I've basically got that guy's fingerprints. Someone said we should release Play-Doh sets of this cat. So everyone's just making Play-Doh through everyone else's talks at the conference. This is a nice idea. I don't think marketing liked it though. Okay, cool. So let's do, I'll do one more. Let's do wood. So we've got the cat. Let's pass in this wood texture. Pop. So we've now got kind of like this etched wood all around the cat. Is wood shiny? No. Unless if it's been varnished. So we've now got like varnished cat all around. And then let's also pass the normal map in because we want the little bumps along the wood texture. So you can actually see along here, like, as I sort of tone up the normal map, like you can see it kind of like cutting in. So it's like, and then. So yeah, I've got kind of like lacquered cat. Yeah. You can then combine all sorts of bits and pieces. So we could get felt, we could, yeah, you can play around with this a lot. I spend a lot of time playing around with it. You can kind of sculpt it in lots of different ways if you like. So the next thing I'm going to show you, so that's one thing. How much longer do I have until the break?
15 minutes, 20.
Holy smokes. Okay.